We're 30 minutes into the U.S. trading day on this Wednesday, January 24th. Here are the top stories we're following for you. Earnings season in full swing with Netflix posting its biggest subscriber gain since the pandemic. Tesla takes the stage tonight. We'll preview what to expect. The physical economy versus the financial economy. How does sentiment differ heading into the 2024 election? We'll discuss with the CEO of Snap-on, a maker of high-end tools and equipment. And finally, the 2024 Media Outlook. Activate CEO Michael Wolff joins us in our Wall Street Week daily segment to break it down. I'm Katie Greifeld in New York. Welcome to Bloomberg Markets. And let's start with a check on those markets, because right now you have the S&P 500 higher by about 0.5%. Big tech doing even better, up about 0.8%. All is pretty quiet in the bond market, probably helping that equity rally, though I will note that 10-year yields currently above 4% and staying there. You take a look at the VIX. We were at a 13 handle about this time yesterday. We're below that right now, trading with that 12 handle. We'll see how low vol can go. But let's talk about Netflix, because the stock is absolutely soaring after it reported its best quarter of subscriber growth since the early days of the pandemic. Now, the streaming giant added 13 million viewers. It also reached a deal yesterday with the WWE to stream its flagship show Raw on the platform. And for more analysis, we're now joined by Geetha Ranganathan of Bloomberg Intelligence. And Geetha, you think about what we learned last night. How much of the subscriber growth was fueled by what we're seeing when it comes to the password crackdown?
I think almost all of it, Katie, came.
Geetha Ranganathan of Bloomberg Intelligence. And let's keep the conversation going now with Kim Forrest, Boca Capital Partners founder and CIO. She joins us now. And Kim, let's start with Netflix, because you look at the stock right now, it is up, 13% or so, really skyrocketing from the bell. Does what we learned yesterday match up with the reaction that we're seeing in the stock today?
Absolutely. Because they delivered a great
in AI, in chips that doesn't have to do with NVIDIA. Kim, stick with us. Let's take a quick look at what's right now moving in the markets. Bloomberg's Bailey Lipschultz going to help us do that. What's on your list, Bailey?
Katie, I know everyone's talking Netflix, but let's look at some stock.
Prepared that this bounce comes after a pretty painful plunge.
Yeah, you can say it's the best, on pace for the best.
You show up with good news. If you project something that's less than stellar, you're going to get punished.
Well, that's the big thing. You've watched markets. I watch markets. Cool robot maker, surgical robot maker. Da Vinci 5 is going to be their next big product. These things help.
Well, Tesla's set to report earnings after the bell today as investors focus on the EV maker's profit margins and guidance for deliveries this year. And for more on Tesla, I am just thrilled to say we're joined by Bloomberg's Ed Ludlow. And Ed, you wrote a small novel on Twitter about Tesla earnings. I put it through a word counter. It was 263 words. You have like 45 seconds. Tell me what you're going to be watching for.
Okay, so in terms of guidance or outlook, Tesla.
But one of the more interesting things around Tesla is this cult around Tesla. I'm sure you're well acquainted with it. And with that in mind, I mean, what will retail investors be looking for in these numbers?
Yeah, I think that there's a real difference in
a Cybertruck in New York City.
Yeah, it's interesting because we don't have the data. They folded it in
the Cybertruck. Bloomberg's Ed Ludlow, a busy day up ahead. Thank you so much for giving us some of your time. And let's welcome back now Kim Forrest, Boca Capital Partners founder and CIO. And Kim, before the break, we were talking about chip names, what you're excited about. And looking through your notes, you have some really interesting thoughts on how to actually invest in cyclical stocks. Talk to us about the psychology of owning those sorts of names.
Sure. Well, I think Wall Street.
Reconstruct a cycle. Obviously, we've been in the boom phase of the AI cycle. Maybe we hit a lull. Maybe we actually hit a bust. What kind of time frame do you expect these cycles to play out in?
Well, you can look to prior.
Have you back soon. That is Kim Forrest. She is Boca Capital Partners founder and CIO. Now, still ahead, we're going to take a look at the companies making the most buzz on social media today. Social Climbers is up next. This is Bloomberg. Time now for Social Climbers, a look at the stocks making waves on social media this morning. And first up, we have eBay, the e-commerce company announcing it will cut 9% of its workforce and reduce work for contractors, citing expenses that are outpacing growth. You take a look at the shares actually bumping up a little bit on that. Now, next up, we have DuPont forecasting first quarter sales that are below analyst estimates. The chemical maker is blaming weak demand from China, as are many of its competitors. And finally, we have Airbus. Analysts are adjusting their estimates estimates ahead of the European airplane manufacturer's earnings on February 15th. You think about what's going on with Boeing, it's going to be fascinating to see that. And you can follow all the latest company buzz on TREN Go on your Bloomberg terminal. This is Bloomberg. Well, U.S. business activity expanded in January by the most in 7 months, led by stronger orders growth. Let's get the read on the ground right now from Nick Pinchuk, Snap-on CEO. He joins us now. Nick, it's great to have you with us. I was reading through your notes, and it was fascinating, the differentiation that you drew between the physical economy and the financial economy. Just to set the ground here, how are you thinking about those two different economies, and how does sentiment differ in each?
I could tell you about that, but I just want to say I feel great to be with you on your third day.
Thank you.
And when I look at this picture, thanks for wearing Snap-on red today.
Of course.
Feel right at home, you know?
Yeah.
Hey, look, you know, from our perspective.
Really enjoyed this conversation. Hope to continue it soon. That is Nick Pinchuk. He is the CEO of Snap-on. Now we want to get a quick check of the markets right now. Abigail Doolittle standing by.
Well, we're looking at a pretty robust rally.
Important to watch. Abigail Doolittle, thank you so much. Now coming up, Netflix posts its best subscriber gain since the early. It's time now for our daily Wall Street Week segment. And joining us now is Activate Strategies CEO and co-founder Michael Wolff, as well as Wall Street Week host David Weston. Activate, of course, a consulting firm specializing in technology and media. And David, a timely conversation coming off of Netflix earnings.
After Netflix yesterday, I should say. Thanks so much, Katie. So it's great to have you back, Michael.
It's a pleasure. It's quite an interesting time.
Yeah, well, especially for Netflix at the moment.
Yes.
They did awfully well, both in subscribers.
Begins next year at the beginning, January 2025. So they're taking, they're 40% of their new subscribers are coming from that ad-supported tier, and others are going to follow.
Well, they're also cracking down on password sharing. Of course, you think about the narrative around the 13.1 million subscribers that they added in the latest data, and it seems like most of that came from password sharing. Is that a playbook that some of these other big streamers are going to follow?
Yeah, we don't know whether it came.
In streaming what we saw in cable. I mean, when you start saying we're going to have advertising supported, that sounds to feel like basic cable. You're
Seeing in-company bundles, so Paramount has both Paramount Plus and Showtime. Disney is offering Hulu and Disney Plus, and then also ESPN Plus in that same package. So we are going to see that, but it's going to be a number of years away.
These streamers would want to bundle and rebundle, et cetera. How much exhaustion is there among the audience, though?
Well, as long as they keep.
thought he really had an advantage because he had such a library, and I think they still do have a remarkable library. Does that give him an advantage anymore? Because
Of course, we had the Netflix WWE deal yesterday. A lot of people taken by surprise, especially by the price tag. You think about the live sports audience and people who are watching traditional TV, and you think about the hysteria over the Dolphins-Chief game earlier this month that was on Peacock. My dad was texting me, frustrated with actually logging on. How messy is the process of putting live sports onto streaming actually going to be?
Well,
I don't think I ever
really?
will. It's just
Wow.
never grabbed me. Let's switch gears pretty dramatically here because I want to talk about the metaverse. I was looking through your notes. You wrote that there are over 300 million active users in major virtual world platforms. That number shocked me. Can we actually define what the metaverse is? Where are those 300 million people?
Well, they're in.
Soon. That is Michael Wolff, CEO and co-founder of Activate Strategies, and of course, our own David Weston. This is Bloomberg.